welcome back to Steve's Garage. As you know, I'm Steve. This is old Earl here, our local inspector. Say hello, Earl. Hello, Earl. And I finally brought my lawyer on board. This is Frank N. Stein, and he's with the law group of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. So he said he better be on here just in case I say the wrong thing, because sometimes I make these videos and they're unedited. I hit go, and whatever happens, happens. It's unscripted. I just shoot from the hip. And the last video, I was calling the front radiator shell a cowl, and it's not a cowl. It's just the radiator shell is all they call it. The cowl is the very front of the body there behind the motor. So hey, I make mistakes. I'm barely human. So another beautiful day here in Western Mass. It's 54 degrees and rainy. And I gotta tell you, I always love a rainy day because there's nothing else you can do but be in your shop here and making a little noise, having some fun, getting some grease under your fingernails, and hanging out with my friends. Anyway, without any further ado, what we're gonna do today is we're going to put our steering column in, our pitman arm, and the drag link that goes to the front steering, so I can move this thing in and out of the shop because I have all the running boards and the front fenders to paint. I have the trunk lid to paint, the hood to paint. So after all the work we went through, if you watched the videos, please go back and check it out. All the paint and buffing and all the work that went into that paint job, which is like 98% there. I still have a few spots to touch up. And but this way I can roll it out of the shop, close the door, paint what I have to paint, and nothing will get on the car because we don't want to ruin what we've already done, right? Nothing. Anyway, let's get rolling here, and I'll show you what we did to the steering column. And let me get that for you here. This is the Model A steering column, and I disassembled this whole section down here, and this is the steering box. And this is a two-tooth steering box, which means there's, on the end of this control arm, there's two teeth that mesh with a worm gear that is a spiral right here. So when you turn the steering wheel, this spiral turns, and it turns this control arm, which is down, your pitman arm is under here, and that swings back and forth, and that runs your steering up front. So nothing, I couldn't adjust anything. Everything was froze up in here. So I took the whole thing apart, cleaned it all out, inside and out, put anti-seize in here to the race. There's a steel race in here, and then there's a bearing on this end, then there's a race at the bottom and a bearing in there, and the race is what catches the bearing. It's like a funnel, and the bearing is sets into that race at the bottom and a race at the top. And this adjustment here pushes this large race down into the bearings and tightens up everything so you have no slop on your steering wheel up and down. And then you have an adjustment here which adjusts the teeth in and out. So you tighten up the teeth so we have no movement in here now. And then on the opposite side is another adjustment, and this pushes in and pushes against this control arm and keeps that from moving in and out. So in and out motion, back and forth, with a loose gear for the teeth, and then in and out here to tighten up your steering wheel so that doesn't go up and down. So all redone, repainted, cleaned up, and everything inside was perfect. All the gears, I've said multiple times that these old Model A's were built pre-war, and before World War II, the steel was just like great steel. Apparently after World War II, they had all these steel drives, and they just melted everything down, and apparently the steel started getting a little dirty after that. So then, after World War II, for so many years, I don't know how long, but the steel had some impurities in it, you know, so really this is really good steel that these cars were made out of. Another little fun fact for you, we always try to hopefully teach you a little something, but the pitman arm was invented by a fella named George Washington Pitman, and he worked in northern Alabama for the railroad, and he invented that arm in use in the steam engine, and then of course, you know, that pitman arm is just a control arm to move another piece further down the line. So a little fun fact for you there. George Washington Pitman, he lived, I believe it was 1844 to 1899, and you can look that up, and that's a fun fact. So there you have it. You wonder where the hell the pitman arm comes from. I look at all these things, I'm like, who the heck, you know, who made this thing? You know, somebody had to come up with it, and hopefully they got credit for it. And there's one. Pitman arm, George W. Pitman. So let's reset up, and actually we don't have to reset up, we'll just kind of move things around here, and we'll get this steering wheel in place. Now, like everything, I do most everything the hard way. So I tried putting the steering wheel in before, but I had to take out the starter motor, which goes right here, and that starter motor is on the floor here. And there is the radiator cover. So I'm going to put my camera over here. Hopefully you won't hear all the swearing going on. Maybe this will let you see what's happening here. And we'll try that. All right, so now, of course, in doing this, I'm like, geez, I should have probably done this when I was putting the body on, but I can weave it through. The pedals are in the way and all that other fun stuff. Now, I got the bolts here somewhere. I took them off. So I put the bolt in from the outside first, and then we'll try to get it in from the opposite side. Of course, working alone is always a tough, but hey, that's what we got. worked in my head. It's not working right now. So, let me pause the camera. All right, so we're back. I wound up having to get the piece that holds the steering wheel on. See this little piece right here, because I couldn't hold it up and then work on the other side, obviously, to get this thing bolted in place. So it is now bolted in place, and we're going to move over to the other work area where I've got a little table set up. And again, bear with me with the camera work and all that. It's the usual battle royale with everything. I'll try to get you a little closer in here. All right, so we have the infamous Pitman arm that we were talking about, George Washington Pitman, and this the drag link hooks on here. This is the drag link here, and that goes in, and we have to put springs in there to get this thing to work proper, and I'll show you that right now. So these are the pieces that get loaded in, and then this piece on the end screws into the end of the drag link, compresses this screen against the ball of your drag link. See that there? And that holds everything in place, so there's a little bit of movement there when you're bouncing. I'm sure when they engineered these things that they were trying to consider wear and tear and movement and bouncing, so they were building these things for those roads they had back then, which they really actually didn't have. They were building roads as they went along. So they were building these Model A's, and all this engineering was built for dirt roads and cobble and all that kind of thing. So when we're driving these things around on smooth roads, these things will last, basically forever take care of them. So I'm going to give them a little bit of bearing grease. That's why I got the gloves on, and kind of preload these things. I did find new grease fittings down at the local hardware store. Get these put kind of in place for now. I am going to set the drag link up because I don't want to deal with it when it's on the car. It'll be a little easier. One thing to out of my hair. That's going to go like that. That's going to go like that. So I just want to make sure I get it right the first shot. The drag link goes in, then comes in the spring and cup. Put some grease in the cup. Close it in, wipe our hands. And then we have this new plug. Goes in the end. Of course, the milling's never like the old stuff. Now I did also make a tool, and I'll bring it to the camera. This, I took an old socket and welded a piece of 1/8 inch steel, or maybe it's more like a 10 gauge steel, and this goes in here and screws these things in. They do sell a tool for about $6 you buy, but I didn't want to order it and wait, so I made my own piece, And that's it. Very easy. So, I'll make sure you can see that. Let me mess around here. We'll do the mess around. That's cranked right into place. As you see a little oil coming out of there. Grease, I should say. There's your pitman arm. It barely have any movement on there, but it might be just a hair too tight. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. A little better movement in that. And the only other thing is, I'm going to get my other ratchet. Because there's also a cotter pin. I'm going to try to show you the hole here. Probably hard to see right now. You can probably see a little in the light there. There's a hole right there where a cotter pin goes through, right through that slot, and that will hold that in place so vibration doesn't move that. So that's a huge important thing to remember when you put these things together. That's that. Plenty tight. And I'm going to grab a cotter pin. So we'll put this cotter pin in through here. See that? And take a pair of pliers. Hope you're getting all this. I'm trying to see the camera at the same time. There. And we'll take a hammer, a plastic one so we don't beat things up. Get it up in the air for you. And there, the cotter pin is butterflied over. Now that will not unscrew, and we have good application there, right? I also did find new grease fittings down the local. These are a standard grease fitting which has the ball end on it. And the old Henry Ford ones, their grease fittings, as you can see, were smoothed out. All right, it didn't like click around. We have a spring load that clicks around from our grease gun onto our new style. So this, you have to hold the grease gun on with all your might, you know, tight, and drive grease through. These are pretty clogged up. I did use some, I have some, what are they called? They're jet cleaners, which is multiple sizes, from like down to a thin guitar string up to like a 1/16 of an inch. Tried cleaning them out, but it wasn't worth it. And again, I always try to keep the Henry Ford parts, but you can't always do that. So another thing, when you get your new spring kits, it does show you how to install. Like here it says, you know, drag link. Whoops, I hit the camera. Sorry, guys. Hope you're not getting seasick. Drag link and shows you there's a wide end on the end. See how they're laid out differently? So it shows you exactly how to put everything in order and how to screw them together so everything is properly installed. So that's a great little piece of information that comes with your new spring kits. And we're going to move you over and get the other thing together. So one thing, oh, I'm noticing now, one thing I forgot, and this is, you know, real TV. So I just noticed when I'm looking at it, see right here, I'm supposed to have this on here, which holds all my grease in place and all that. So I screwed up. I'm going to pause the camera for you, put it back the way it's supposed to be, and I'll be right back. And that's human nature, right? Things happen. Again, like I said, we're nothing scripted here. We're just trying to get through it best we can. So let me get off the camera and I'll be right back. All right, everything back in action. So we got the metal sleeve on here and the rubber hooey on the end here, and she is in place and ready to go. So now we're going to move over to the car. All right, so on the pitman arm, there is a locking bolt up here. And if you look down here, there's a notch in the control arm, or whatever the name is for that sucker. So we're going to put this here. We have the other, don't forget that, the part that catches the grease end. Put that over here. Wrestle that on there. Okay. Now I'm going to get my springs. Preload some grease in there. Spring down in there. Get a rag. So that's ready to go on. This is the hard one to get on there. You get a rubber mallet, because that the spring has to be compressed a little bit as you put it on. It's a real pain in the butt. I think what I'll do first is put the pitman arm on this end. Just make life easier, I think, in the long run. Could be wrong. There's a nice flat on it in the bottom. Lock washer, castle nut. I'll tighten this up afterwards. So this is the tricky part. hate beating on stuff because, you know, I spent all this time cleaning and painting and all that part, and you know, it kind of beats it up and I got to touch it up again. But that's life. That's life. What the hell? We beat it and push it and kick it and all right, we got that. Checking your view for you. This here. Too tight, and you want to see your hole for your cotter pin. Then we will come in here. Look, that thing's crooked. These new ones, I'll tell you right now, I don't like them. I'm going back to the old Henry Ford one. And they're really in good shape. You see I put some grease in the end there. But these ones must have been replaced at some point. They're barely worn. But this is the one that came out from Henry Ford. And they fit the casting the way it's supposed to. That other stuff, I don't know where it's made, but it's never, you know, congratulations for making parts, but let's make good stuff, guys. If you're gonna do a shit job, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Make parts, buff them out, make them work. Put another guy on the line for $15 an hour. You know what I'm saying? It's aggravating. Buy brand new stuff from these big companies. It's all, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of it is under what I expect out of a piece of machinery, you know? I want to do it right. I want to be safe when I'm driving it. And if you're selling parts for public safety, make them right. That's my rant for the day, boys. Believe me, I'll have another one. I'll call you up later. I'm trying to get that cotter pin in line. I think I'm pretty close there. Get our brand new cotter pin. Yep, there it is. A little more. A little more. A little more. Now I still have to grease those fittings. I did pre-grease them. Cotter pin, cotter pin, cotter pin. I have 2 cotter pins to put under the radiator, and that's that. Let me put the radiator shell on, and then we'll take another view. All right, I did get new rods to hold the radiator on, and if you saw the last video, I was rubbing a little bit here, and now everything's lined up nice, running good. And we'll take a look at the steering. So now here we are here. So we will, hard when it's not moving, obviously. So everything is, I've got to make some adjustments on that steering box. Everything's really tight right now. So I'll just readjust everything, and we'll be in good shape again. So that's it. So again, more adjustments. Adjust the box a little more to loosen up on the alignment of the teeth, and that's that. So for now, linkage is set up. We've got steering. I probably should jack it up and do all that so I can, instead of the tires being on the floor, take the pressure off it. It'll be much easier to do what we're doing. And that's it. I started to put some insulation on the inside here. Try to quiet down the doors a little bit, and see, everything's fitting nice and tight. Paint's looking good. This is wood that I made quite a while back, but have to get everything set up. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the great comments, and on behalf of Earl and old Frank and myself, thanks a lot. Have a great day. Say hello to your wife, kids, and your friends. Hug your dog. Have a good weekend, and enjoy. Please subscribe and like my videos, and you help me out. We're at 481 people right now, and we're 9 months into it. So we'll have a celebration at 500. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, everyone.